It is almost precisely a year since we were last joined on Live at 5 by Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, and what a difference a year can make. After plummeting to the bottom of the opinion polls in this nation, Brian Mulroney's Conservatives are back on top with just 5 weeks until the federal election, and the Prime Minister himself, whose personal popularity sunk to record lows during the middle of his term, is now the leader viewed as most competent by the largest number of Canadians. And the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Brian Mulroney, joins us 1 year later. Thanks for coming in. Good to have you.
Delighted to be back. Thank you, Steve.
Want to roll back the hands of time not 1 year but 4 to 1984, the rallying cry of that election, jobs, jobs, jobs. You've said at every opportunity in this campaign that that is a promise you have kept, and I would like to take a look at the numbers if we might. Today, in fact last month, according to Statistics Canada, 81,000 Maritimers officially out of work, 20% lower than it was in September of 1984. Sounds pretty good. But on closer examination, Prime Minister, it is in fact well below the national numbers, which are 30% lower now than they were in September 84. Why haven't we, in these three provinces, had our fair share of all those jobs?
Well, there's been a tremendous improvement, as you know, in the employment numbers, but in point of fact, traditionally Atlantic Canada and some other areas of the country has lagged very substantially behind in the sharing of the national wealth. That's one of the reasons why we have acted so strongly to introduce the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency. By way of illustration, as a special measure, $1 billion of new money being pumped in, which has already created 10,000 new jobs, which I think is going to be a major success story for the Maritimes.
We would hope.
So we've made some, yeah, we both hope, because Atlantic Canada, for the reason that you mentioned, while there's been a dramatic improvement in the employment numbers in 4 years, still lags behind. And you can't have two Canadas, one with a low unemployment and another area with higher unemployment. There should be a relatively equal dimension of equality of opportunity, and that's what we're striving for.
But we've never had that.
No, we haven't.
In frankness, Prime Minister, we don't have it now after 4 years of
No, we
conservative
don't.
government.
No, we don't. But the margins have closed and are closing. And I think that if, for example, with Hibernia, off Newfoundland and Labrador, with the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, with free trade, these are three naturals to close the gap in favor of Atlantic Canada vis-a-vis the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. I mean, these three are designed to work together, and that's why we've done it. We created, Canadians have created, 1,303,000 new jobs since I was sworn in as Prime Minister. That's about 1,000 jobs a day for every day that we've been there. And they've been distributed broadly across the country. Not enough in Atlantic Canada, not enough, for example, in Newfoundland and Labrador, not enough in the interior of British Columbia, by way of illustration. So we have to do better about equalizing opportunity, but we're making, I think, major strides.
Can we address the jobs that your government has eliminated through its policies in this region? Dennis Cochrane, the Member of Parliament for Moncton, which is one of our principal cities, said that the CN shops in Moncton would close over his dead body. They're closed. Those jobs, those 1,000 jobs in Moncton, are gone.
Well, look, there are 4 million Canadians who change jobs every year out of a labor force of 11 or 12 million. This is part of a technologically changed and changing society. Things change. Free trade is going to, for example, affect some jobs and create thousands of others. Nothing stands still.
Can you give us your word sitting here today that you will not in any way tamper with old age security, unemployment insurance benefits, and so on? That you will not de-index, reduce, or further tax these benefits in a second term if you win one in November?
Well, can you give me any guarantee that we're all going to be alive and well tomorrow? I think that we hope that we all are. I hope that there will be more programs. I'm almost absolutely certain that there will be. We're committed to more and better social programs. We've just introduced a child care program, which is going to cost some $6.7 billion over the next 7 years, which is going to create 200,000 new spaces for working women. It's a vital need. It's vitally important for Canadian families, for working mothers. It is absolutely indispensable that we have this kind of program. To pay for it, we need more cash. Therefore, we need more trade, we need more jobs. We really need more taxpayers. We need a greater pool of national wealth so that we can distribute that wealth more equitably to the elderly, to the dispossessed, to the homeless, to those who are in need in our society. So I suppose that the answer to your question is that The object of a civilized society is to do more for people in need. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. We recognize, however, that we can't do anything for anybody unless people are working, and that the economy is generating new wealth and new prosperity so that we can then share with Canadians who genuinely deserve it.
The short answer, Prime Minister, would appear to be no. You can't make that commitment sitting here tonight.
Well,
you can't guarantee that you won't de-index.
Oh, look, that's when
to
did you stop beating your wife question. Well, you know, I can't answer questions like that because to answer them would be to dignify them. You know that. We have no intention to do anything such as the kind that you've suggested. But you know it, so when did you stop beating your wife question?
So no guarantees?
Well, no, let's talk about it. I could not answer a question like that because to acknowledge the existence of the question is to dignify it. The fact of the matter is that we have no intention of doing anything other than more for those elements of society you have mentioned. Mm-hmm. So there would be no reason for me to comment on a suggestion that we would have a plan to do less.
Off to Cape Breton?
Yes, off to Cape Breton tonight. Look forward to it.
Thanks for
And then to Charlottetown.
Then to Charlottetown.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again, Steve.
Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, thank you.
you.
There is more Live at 5 to come in just a moment.